Let's jump right into this explainer because, guys, we are breaking down a match that literally had absolutely everything. We're talking pure, unfiltered emotion, absolute on-pitch chaos, and, well, some serious tactical flaws that honestly almost ended in complete disaster. If you were talking the reactions to Argentina's unbelievable, nail-biting win over Switzerland, you know exactly what I mean. Fans literally had their hearts in their mouths the entire game. So let's dive in and look at how on earth Argentina actually managed to survive this.
Moments after scoring what he called the goal of his life, Julian Alvarez didn't even want to talk about his own glory. Instead, his immediate reaction was justice. We will do absolutely everything to make sure Lionel Messi wins the World Cup again. Think about that for a second. The source material points out that Alvarez actually views every single game as a battle for Messi. I mean, the very first thing he did after scoring was sprint over to hug his captain. That profound level of devotion, it's exactly the kind of raw, unfiltered emotion that fueled Argentina's chaotic survival today.
Section 1. The ultimate Messi tribute. Julian Alvarez's relentless performance.
Because let's be real, Alvarez wasn't just a goal scorer out there. The guy was a relentless engine. While the rest of the team completely stagnated playing this extremely narrow style, he was making these agonizing runs. He was aggressively pressing the goalkeeper, fighting for literally every single inch when no one else seemed able to. But man, it took an exhausting 112 minutes for him to finally break that deadlock. Up until that exact moment, critics were seriously questioning his form, even suggesting his transfer value was plummeting by the minute. Well, with that one absolute banger of a goal in the 112th minute, yeah, he silenced the critics and instantly justified every single penny of his massive transfer value. What an unbelievable time to deliver.
Section 2. Scaloni's tactical blunders. Sitting back on a 1-0 lead. Okay, we need to break down exactly what went wrong tactically here, because it was a mess. Argentina actually took a brilliant early lead in the 10th minute, a great McAllister header off a beautiful Messi cross. But instead of going in for the kill, Scaloni makes this massive error. He openly invites pressure. They completely sat back just to defend a 1-0 lead. The Swiss manager, Murat Yakin, had this highly disciplined game plan all ready to go, and Scaloni just played right into their hands. Argentina played extremely narrow in both attack and defense, just completely abandoning the wings. Because of that, their right side was massively exposed, leaving Molina and DePaul totally vulnerable time and time again. And to make matters worse, Scaloni actually waited until the 78th minute, way after Switzerland had already equalized, to make any meaningful substitutions.
And the craziest part of all of this is the mind-boggling contradiction in their setup. Argentina fielded a stacked four-man midfield. We're talking McAllister, Leandro Paredes, Enzo Fernandez, and Rodrigo DePaul, 4 elite midfielders. Yet somehow, they completely failed to control possession. Like, how do you play 4 top-tier midfielders and still lose the ball constantly? Instead of dictating the pace like you'd expect, they resorted to sloppy football, hoofing long balls, and completely abandoning any real attempt to dominate the center of the pitch.
Section 3. The red card controversy. Mistaken identity and simulation.
So the inevitable finally happens in the 67th minute when Switzerland punishes that exposed right side to equalize the match. But what followed right after was just pure, unadulterated chaos. Let me walk you through this timeline step by step, because it is wild. First, the equalizer goes in. Shortly after, Leandro Paredes goes in for what looks like a tackle on Breel Embolo. Embolo anticipates the contact and completely throws his body to the ground in a blatant dive. I mean, pure simulation. Initially, the referee actually gives Paredes a yellow card. But then, using FIFA's mistaken identity rule, the ref goes over to the VAR monitor to check the footage. He quickly realizes, wait, Paredes never actually made the tackle. The resolution? Embolo, who was already carrying a yellow card for a rough challenge earlier, gets a second yellow for diving and is sent off the pitch in tears. His attempt to get Paredes booked spectacularly backfired. You literally can't write this stuff.
Section 4. The game-changing substitutions. Benched youth versus on-pitch fatigue. But here's the thing. Astonishingly, even playing against 10 men, Argentina looked completely uninspired, super cautious, and just heavily fatigued. They couldn't capitalize on the advantage at all, which created sheer disbelief surrounding Scaloni's roster management. Look at these numbers. You have players like McAllister grinding out a full 120 minutes, and Paredes pushing through 110. DePaul and Enzo also played massive minutes. These core guys were literally running on empty. Meanwhile, you've got incredibly dynamic youth players like Nico Paz and Valentin Barco just sitting on the bench with 0 minutes played. The source actually highlights this heartbreaking image of Nico Paz sitting there with his boots tied, eagerly waiting for his chance to inject some much-needed energy between the lines. But Scaloni, he just kept him waiting.
Eventually, Thiago Almada finally brought the spark. When he was introduced late in the game, the entire dynamic just shifted. He started dictating play, and suddenly the frequency of Argentina's shots skyrocketed. That specific injection of confidence and forward momentum directly created the pocket of space JULIÁN Álvarez needed to score his blinding goal, and right at the very end, it was Almada driving forward again, probably trying to force a pass to Messi, which resulted in a messy deflection off the goalkeeper, Gregor Kobel, allowing Lautaro Martinez to finish the match with a simple tap-in.
Section 5. Messi's emotional final whistle, a 39-year-old's relief.
At 39 years of age, having won absolutely everything there is to win in world football, the relief on Messi's face at the final whistle was incredibly poignant. He took his shirt off to celebrate, just completely drained after surviving an absolute war of attrition. It wasn't just a standard celebration of a win. It was a raw, unfiltered moment of sheer exhaustion. And the feeling of the Argentine fan base following that whistle basically boils down to this: I want to live in that moment where Messi has brought us. The creator of our source material expressed this deep, profound desire to just savor this euphoric victory. Instead of immediately jumping to the immense anxiety of the next round, fans just want to live in this feeling, taking a moment to appreciate that their team, led by their exhausted captain, actually survived to fight another day. Section 6. The looming threat. England. Can Argentina survive the semifinals? Because, yes, Argentina survived Switzerland, but now they face a colossal challenge in the semifinals. If they play the exact same way they just did, with those heavy, exhausted legs and narrow, cautious tactics, they're walking right into a nightmare. England possesses absolute monsters on the pitch. You've got the blistering, terrifying pace of Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke out wide, which, by the way, is the ultimate kryptonite for Argentina's narrow defense. Then you have the elite, lethal finishing of Marcus Rashford and Harry Kane, plus the relentless attacking drive of Jude Bellingham, all anchored by the incredible midfield grit of Declan Rice. The source material highlights a genuine, palpable dread at the prospect of this elite English attack running relentlessly at an already exhausted Argentine side. So we are left with this massive, looming question to end on. Can Scaloni's exhausted tactics possibly survive England's elite attack? Will Argentina finally inject some width and youthful energy by trusting players like Nico Paz, or will they just sit back, play narrow, and openly invite their own destruction? This chaotic Argentine side has survived by the absolute skin of their teeth, but the semifinals? That's going to be an entirely different beast. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer. I'd love to know what you think. Can Argentina fix these glaring tactical flaws before it's too late? Or is this really the end of the road for Messi squad?